Good evening. Hopefully I remembered to turn on my microphone this week and you can hear me. Burdy. If you can hear me out there, let me know. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. Alrighty. So, first of all, sorry for last week. I was ill. Had a bit of back pain, which led to a migraine, and basically I can't do anything when I got a migraine. It's a matter of just I have to sleep, and that's what happened. I just slept for about 16 hours, and yeah, that was that. So on my agenda for tonight, I'm going to spend a little bit at the start of this stream just going back through stuff that we talked about on the last stream. So on my last stream, I showed you some brushes that I was gonna test out. So some were better than others, and I picked up some other brushes during the week to have a play around with too. Also last week we started painting old Burdy here. I showed you a whole bunch of my, not last week, last fortnight, showed you a whole bunch of my models that I have painted recently. And then we did some painting of the old Burdy here. This cool little fella that I'd been putting off for ages. I kind of haven't got my table fully set back up here after painting right in front of me here instead of over there. So it's going to take a couple of minutes while I'm talking to set that up. You're in the way, light. Get out of the way. Alrighty. So last fortnight, I spoke to I was talking about hey go on focus, welcome back, it's good to see you again. Sorry about last week, I had a cracking migraine and just wasn't able to bring myself to get in front of the camera, so I just did a lot of sleeping. So last episode that I was on, I showed you two sets of brushes that I had been planning to use. So the good were these Princeton brushes. Hey Tanker, how are you, mate? Let's see if I can change the focus so that we can see these actual brushes. Or are they just going to mess with us the whole time? Yeah, they're going to mess with us. Alright, what do I get? I can't get that any closer, so I'll just bring these back. I'll just bring these up. So these... And then we'll adjust it up. So these Princeton brushes, I had a 0, a 2, a 4, and a 6. So they're mostly pretty big. Like the 0 is bigger than what I normally see from zeros, I think. And they're all synthetic. Fish of a stream on arena, gained a couple of... Nice work. I think I saw you were looking to grind for platinum this season, so good luck with that. I'd love to see a couple of our regulars up in the top tiers. See how you can do, up in the mythic tiers even. That would be awesome. We did have Isolation Chamber Gaming managed to get there just near the end of the last season, so that would be cool. So these Princeton brushes, I've been painting the crap out of things with these. I'm actually really pleased with how they are. Obviously, using the bigger fella to slop on base coats, and then just working my way down based on, you know, how much surface area I've got to cover. The other set of brushes that I was going to be testing was the LeonHardy brushes that Mark got in. So remember that these Princeton brushes were $2 to $3 each. So they're what I would consider to be on the cheaper side of brushes. You know, your Citadel brushes are $6 or $7. Your Army Painter brushes come three in a set for between $25 and $35. Then you move up to, now we've got Redgrass ones that are $16 to $20 each, and then we've also got the Kolinsky Sable brushes. I can't remember what the brand's called. It's Wilson and very well known artists brand of brushes, and you're talking like $25 to $60 per brush. So the other set that I was talking about working with on the last ep were the LeonHardy brushes. These were 40 to 70 cents each, and if you recall, I didn't think too much of the actual hair of the brush, and it was quite... I found that they didn't hold paint well at all, and the thing that they became most useful for was I whittled them down on their tips to use as holders for... I'll just load one of these up here. One of the other things I want to talk about tonight, holders so that I could base spray these Star Wars Legion speeder bikes. So honestly, this is what they ended up being useful for. They were horrible for painting with. They just didn't hold any paint. It was like dip it in the paint, dip it on the model, dip it in the paint, dip it on the model, dip it in the paint, dip it on the model. I was talking to Mark about it, I think yesterday or Friday, and I asked him whether he'd played around with them yet, and he said nah. He hadn't actually been planning on. He got them, but he just didn't end up using them. And when I explained that to him, he's like, yeah, I'm just not going to use them. He's one of those guys that he's got his Series 5 Kolinsky Sable brushes, and he's got his Army Painter Regiment brushes and stuff like that. And I think he has said to me, though, to get him a set of the Princetons, and he'll give them a go, and he'll let me know what he thinks with the whole you know, synthetic brushes instead of sable, instead of, you know, a nice haired brush. So we'll see where we go with that. I also picked up some other cheap brushes last week to play around with. So these are J Burrows, and I picked these up at Officeworks. So as you can see, I've got a couple of rather big ones here. So the plan here is I'm going to use these as dry brushes. These were, I think, $4.50 or $5.50 each, and then another what's this? This is a size 10 base brush. So you know, I don't know what I'm going to use that for. It's much bigger than I was expecting it to be. When I got it home, I looked at it and went, why did I get something so big? But yeah, these are something that I've played around with this one, but the flat tip one is another one that I want to play around with, and have a see how she goes. A couple of the other ones that I bought last week, I still haven't touched these ones. These are Royal and Langnickel. I haven't used them at all. One's synthetic and one's some sort of hairbrush. So we'll see how they go. Maybe next week, during the week. So they were things that I wanted to play around with and talk about. Now, new product that we had come in this week, because obviously we've had a lot of delays on Games Workshop stuff. I've been using DaVinci brushes lately. Really love them. I still managed to end up destroying them. Hey man, we all destroy brushes. I'm actually pretty impressed. That's one of the things that I'm impressed with the Princeton brushes is, you know, they've actually lasted pretty well. Apart from the 6, which, you know, she doesn't have a very fine point on her, but I can get it to do what I want, which is important. I'm going to have to look up those DaVinci brushes and see what they're all about. But yes, delays with Games Workshop. So Games Workshop this week, they announced that they're going to go back to having local game stores open. As in ordering for them is going to be reopened. So I was expecting a phone call from my rep today. It didn't end up happening. So we're closed tomorrow. We're doing because the landlord's supposed to be doing some maintenance on the building. While they're doing the maintenance on the building, we're actually going to do a stock take. And if I don't hear from the rep before lunch, I'm going to give them a call and try and get an order through and try and catch up on all of our orders. For Games Workshop, there's been a lot of people asking about the Catachin Colonel, Jungle Soldier, whatever you want to call him at this point in time. I don't think they've really given him a name. Oh, eyes with a 4. Ooh. I struggle to do eyes with a 0.2. That must be some pretty good work you're doing there, Son of Gruffalo. So yeah, one of the things that we're really short on at the moment with GW, apart from obviously paints, like we've expanded into multiple new paint ranges. We just, I think I spoke last episode about the Reaper Bones paints. So we've got these in. I haven't used either of these yet on our bird model. Vallejo, we had a bit of a restock. We're waiting for a bigger restock at the moment. And Army Painter, we just started stocking Army Painter. We bought 20% of the range last week. We probably buy another 20% of the range the following week because unfortunately, you know, we bought the entire Reaper Bones rack. So we need to, with the whole COVID and reduced business and stuff like that, we need to sort of manage our money a bit. So we'll slowly build into the Army Painter range right now. there are some really nice colours that we've got in already. If you do bolt action and stuff like that, we've got quite a few of the base colours for your World War II miniatures, your German greys, your German greens, British greens and browns, American khakis and stuff like that. But the other thing that we're sort of running out of from Games Workshop is 25mm bases that people keep coming in and get for. Am I doing the dips as well? Strong tone. So we have got a couple of tins of strong tone in just this week. So I think they're a 200mm tin, something like that. You know, it's probably about the size of the Citadel water pot that I got here. I can't turn it on the side because it'll obviously... I can hold it up like this. It's about the size of that, if that's the one that you're talking about. So I got a couple of tins of the strong tone in just this week. So if you're looking for that, we do have it. I can't give you a price off the top of my head. I can't remember what it was for. But yes, 25mm bases. We just had a big restock of the miniature scenery laser cut MDF stuff, and we've got these tasty little 25mm bases that have just come in. They're $8 a pack for 10, which when you think about Citadel bases, you're talking like 50 cents a base, usually around there for a 25mm base, I think it is. You're getting 10 in a pack here. You're talking 80 cents a base. You're probably not going to be able to see it. I'll do my best here, but how focused in can we get on this guy? So let's see if you can see this, but the bases here, they're laser etched as well, laser cut and laser etched. So this texture is etched into these bases. I don't know if any of that just translated sound wise, but yeah, so these bases are all laser etched, so they have texture on them. You can use that texture to give, a bit more oomph to your rebasing of your miniatures. So I think we've got about 10 or 12 packs of these in, and I've obviously taken one for myself because why wouldn't I? I want to play around with stuff like this whenever it comes in. In addition to that, we got more paint rack, MDF paint racks, stuff like that. I'm just going to tilt my camera here so you can see the one that I've got on my... Oh, that's as far as it goes. Oh, there we go. My paint rack and tool rack that I use all come from this range. All my paints are in a... you obviously didn't see many paints there. That's because I've got them all stored in a carrying case at the moment that I was going to take to and from the shop, but to do some painting at the shop. But unfortunately, the shop is a little bit too busy, to just sit around painting. There's always something to do there. So so that was the other thing I wanted to show off, was these 25mm bases. I'm hoping to do a video around basing sometime soon, so we'll play around with painting these bases. We'll play around with rebasing some of the figures that I haven't done yet, or basing some of the figures that I haven't done yet, so I can show that off, a couple of different techniques. Last thing I want to show off before we start painting Alberto over there. This week I invested in some Star Wars Legion. So I have sort of just suddenly got the hankering, and I put the word out to see who had half of a Legion starter box, and a good friend and customer of ours, Glenn, replied that he was doing rebels. He wants to do some partisan rebels, so he's getting all of your I believe things like Saw's renegades, well, Saw's group, and I'm pretty sure he's picking up like Cassian and K2SO and things like that to make up his group. And he said he was happy to part with the Empire side of the box. So I picked up these guys, and I've tried to do them not so white, but more of a dirtied up Mandalorian series kind of look. It doesn't really translate quite well because of the light and the focus. It's a bit, the light's a bit burning the whites a bit. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that they're going. I ran out of grey base, so I ended up basing the second lot with just pure black, and then painted them with some Ulthuan grey from Citadel and they've actually come out looking like white stormtroopers, which is mad because this is only 2 coats of Ulthuan grey watered down over a black base. So these guys are going to need some washes, so I spent a lot of time washing the first batch. So washed them with the Nuln Oil, and then with the Agrax Earthshade, and then on the knees and on the elbows I washed them with a bit of Athonian camo shade to make it look like, you know, they've been running around. They haven't had time to clean their armor, so they've at some point in time dived into some grass and, you know, given themselves some grass stains. I've lightly based them. I've just started basing them. That's a bit of what is that? That's Armageddon Dunes, I think. So it's very desert worldy. I'm going to give it a bit of a dry brush of some sort of a grey to make it look more like a dirty kind of mining colony world, like the I've forgotten what world they home based on the Mandalorian TV show on Disney Plus. But yes, I've got that, and then obviously I've got my what races can you get in Star Wars range? So for Legion at the moment, you can get the Empire, you can get the Rebels, the Republic, and the Separatists. Obviously, I got my old, you know, your go-to Darth Vader here. He's just base coded. Nothing else has been done on him yet. There's all the electronics and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna have to layer the cape to add a bit of depth to it, and maybe the pants as well. Some silvers need to be put onto the chest plate, and then I'm going to finish off his helmet with some glossy sealer. Gosh, what's it called? Nope, clear coat, basically. Some gloss clear coat, just so that he shines a bit more. His cape can stay matte-ish. Oh, and of course his blade needs to glow an ungodly red, as they do. That's pretty much where I'm at with this stuff. Legion is fantastic. The only thing with Legion... Dang, no Ewoks? Oof, not yet. Not yet. One day. I think Disney would like to actually do away with the Ewoks. They haven't even really shown up in anything forever, so for a while now, I mean. So, alrighty. So this is going to be a bit of a mixture of painting tonight, I think, because Burdo, straight up Mr. Burdo, I think where we got to on Burdo the last time was we painted this. Ooh, what was that colour? Oh, I've put some stuff away since last fortnight, because I was doing all of that stuff. what did we have? I reckon it might have been... Yeah, I reckon it might have been Mornfang Brown that we started on with the front of the wings. It was either that or it was this Scarg Brown, but I don't think it was because that's a bit more yellowy. Then we launched into some VX 88 for the middle feathers, and then some Carrick Stone and some Baneblade to do the ends of the ends of those feathers, and then the big pin feathers, I think they're called pin feathers, we were using Dryad bark to darken that down, and then obviously underneath we gave it a bit of an opposite sort of look there. Where did my reference material go? Pictures. Oh dear, I didn't save the Burdo pictures, I don't think. Yeah, it's looking like I didn't save the old Burdo, but that's fine because it was a Google search for the old wedge-tailed eagles. So, wedge-tailed eagle images. Alright, so what I'm looking at, I am looking at stuff that I can't put on this screen. Alright, so I think part of this, we were talking about maybe doing a bit of the darker colour at the front of the wings here, because some of the pictures that I brought up made it look like the leading feathers need to be darker, but I'm happy with it the way that it is. I think for the underneath, I think we're just going to hit the ends, maybe hit the underside of the tail feathers with the same colour as, let's take him off of this. Let's get some blue tack out of his popper here. Oh no. Get out. I think it's been painted in. Where's my blade? Actually, try the spatula first. There we go. I think that cleans it up. So I'm going to have to obviously hit this little hole here with a bit of painty paint. Get my wet palette out. Move my paints around. Get them. Alright. Oh, wetty palette here. Wet palette is still going strong. Might give it a little touch more water. I was using it last night and it was still quite reasonably damp. But she's looking like she's drying out now. So a lot of these paints are still wet from a couple of weeks ago, which is super impressive. You know, keep the lid closed, and you know, they just managed to be quite good. Messages coming in for me. Aha. Aha. Alright. Alright. Oh, Bordeaux. Bordeaux. Bordeaux, Bordeaux, Bordeaux. Let's see. Is this Mornfang Brown the correct colour for you? Yes. Yes, it is. It's a bit watered down because it's been in the wet palette, but that's okay. We'll hit it with another coat afterwards, and it'll darken down like the rest of it. My light placement isn't fantastic, apparently. What am I gonna do about just light placement? Let's get my other lamp in and around here. Yeah. Nice. What do we do with Birdo's claws? Okay. So let's hit Birdo's claws with the same paint for now. They look like they're more of a stone colour when they're finished, so... It's not going to hurt to hit them with this now. Especially seeing as I'm trying to get it in and paint around it so that it all matches. So we're just going to tidy that up a little bit. I'm going to do the VX88 on the tail and then layer the tail, and hopefully you can get the tail looking like the underside of the other pin feathers. Same, yeah, absolutely. It is the same paper layer. I'm super impressed with it. It's the same paper from the other week. This Ulthuan Grey's dried up. This Stormhost Silver's dried up. The Retributed Gold's dried up. But what's this? I think this might be some Abaddon Black. No, it's Dark Angel's Green. As you can see, Dark Angel's Green, that's like 3 weeks ago. This Dryad bark is dry. This VX88 is still usable. So yeah, I got some in the brush there. VX88 is what I want to use next. So the question is, how usable? Let's just see what kind of coverage we get out of this guy. Well, 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 look at that. It's perfectly usable. Yeah, old Burdy, he's definitely holding that detail. That's, I mean, I don't know if you mean by the colours or if you mean by the showing through of the detail on the feathers, but that's why we use thin down layers of paint, because the thin down paint, if we use thin down paint, it's obviously thinner, and it lets those details shine through from underneath. So even with multiple thinned down layers, it's still going to show through, which is really good. Obviously, the more layers you put on it, the less detail is going to show through. But the plan is, once we've put on these couple of layers to the tail, we're going to hit the whole bird with a wash to bring out the detail. So my thoughts are, I'm going to hit it with some sepia wash and see what it looks like. If I'm not happy with it, I'm just gonna maybe test it on a little bit of this wing, and if I'm not happy with it, I'm just gonna hit it with a darker wash. That is a texture paint. I'm gonna hit it with the Agrax Earthshade, which is like a dirty wash, and that'll make all of the capillaries, I don't know what you want to call them, of the feathers stand out when it dries up. And then to brighten it back up again, because it will make it darker. That's the whole, well, it's not the purpose of the wash, but you know, the washes tend to darken everything down. You hit it with the colors again, so we'll dry brush some color onto here, to get the colours back out of it, I reckon. So, alright, that's enough of the VX88. So that was this colour. That was put on the wet palette 2 weeks ago. Monday 2 weeks ago. So that's mostly getting dryish now. I'm actually going to come back across to the Mornfang brown, or Skag brown. I'm going to hit around the mouth features of this bird. Oh. Just so that it's all based a bit again. And basically we'll hit that up. I'll check out the picture of it, but I'm thinking we hit his beak with a bit of Tau Light Ochre. So this is an orangey colour. The light's making it look yellow. It's an orangey colour. I reckon beak will be that orangey colour. And I'll highlight the beak with maybe some part Urel, part Tau Light Ochre to sort of tame it down a bit. Or maybe I'll go with the Carrick Stone and Tau Light Ochre to give it more of a browny tone rather than a yellowy tone. I don't know yet. We'll see. Alright, so that's done. Hey Saint, welcome to the stream, sir. For those that don't know Saint, I've been doing some streaming with Saint the last couple of weeks, doing a bit of Realm Royale, just guesting on his squads. Very nice bloke, just a dad, playing his games, having a good time, building a nice community. Now this Baneblade Brown, she is a bit thick on this palette. So whereas the VX88 has survived the 2 weeks, the Baneblade has basically become a puddle of mess. Thanks, Saint. This is my nice bird that I'm working on. This is what I was supposed to be painting last Monday when I was ill, so with the migraines. So tonight we're just working on this tail, getting it layered up like the underside of these feathers, and then we're going to hit it with a bit of a wash or an ink or whatever you want to call that good old stuff. How did you go tonight on your stream, Saint? I think I saw that you were having a play again. So that Baneblade has the pigment's gotten really sort of dry, very dried out. So it's probably not the best plan to be using that because it has eaten quite a bit of the detail to that tail, unfortunately. I suppose the good thing is that you're not going to be looking under the tail quite very often. Let's just jack up the focus just a tiny bit more, and you can see that on the tail, on the end of the tail here, it's starting to look a bit flat. Make sure that's not bleeding over to the other side too much. Alrighty. While Birdo tail is drying on that layer, I'm just going to have a look at some reference photos for beakies. Oh, okay. Well, isn't that interesting? Change of plan, crew. Let me transition across to here. This is going to look junky for a moment. We can do something like a Acadian flesh tone. Maybe highlight a little bit with a mixture between that and Emperor's Children. Yeah, white, not yellow. But so the inside of the mouth, I'm probably looking at something like this, a little bit of a mixture there. With the beak. So beaky is going to be interesting. I'm thinking That's probably a bit too white. Maybe this Rakarth flesh. Maybe do a little bit with this Ulthorn Grey on there? Maybe? Maybe? Upshafty Bone. I think the Upshafty Bone's probably not quite right. Flayed one flesh. So maybe we get rid of that. We get rid of the Ulthorn Grey. Maybe less grey. Or maybe not less grey. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Yes, so I'm thinking maybe we hit it with the carrot flesh. Rakarth flesh for the beak. Then, wait, why did I put that back? No, yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like maybe a bit of this, but maybe we just use the black wash. Yeah, maybe we use a black wash. Nuln Oil. Let me switch back over just quickly to the other one. So you wouldn't have heard me on there, but I was not talking during it just in case. I just don't have the mic source on there, so looking at some of these bird pictures, I'm thinking we use the Rakarth flesh. I can play around with some other tones on the end, some layering on the very end of the beak, just to. I mean, he's not very big to be able to, you know. White with the black wash, would that work? Or the grey with the wash? I actually don't think that I want it to be white or grey. I think I want to start with a warmer colour, like the Rakarth flesh, which is more of a very light sandy brown, and then use like either like just dry brush a bit of black onto the tip, maybe. I mean, he's got a very small bill, so maybe I'm just getting too deep into it because I've got a nice big reference picture to work with. So we'll play around with it. We'll see where we get to. You know, there's as Bob Ross used to say, there's no mistakes. It's just lots of happy little accidents. So it doesn't really matter when it comes down to it, as long as, you know, you learnt something along the way. Just going to get a bit of... Oh, see. I'm going to just bring the palette up to you here. Get rid of that. This is what I was talking about with the Bane Blade. So you can see that it's here, but it's very muddy. So a lot of the... I think a lot of the medium has actually soaked away. So the medium is what the pigment is suspended in. The good thing is that I have... So I got this contrast medium. I'm not going to use that because it's got a different consistency to it. But what I do have... Oh my god, I got so much stuff in this corner. What I do have up on my shelf... you can get a little pot of medium that's probably about this size. So this storm shield is actually a hard coat for it, so, or a clear coat for over the top. This size bottle is like $11.50, $12. this size model, bottle of Montemart acrylic flow medium, which you can get from Spotlight or Ned's or whatever. I know I'm doing myself out of business here, but this is the more sensible way to go. This is a 250ml bottle as opposed to I think this is a 24ml bottle. So we're talking 10 times as much gear for $20. So for another $8 or $9, you're getting 10 times as much. I honestly don't care what brand you go with when you're doing most things. So, Citadel, Vallejo, Montemart, these are all paint things. So this is medium. I'm just going to take some out, put it on my brush, put the lid back on so I don't stuff shit up. Tip it everywhere. And now let's see if we can bring this pigment back to life with some medium. Might work, it might not work. Let's see. Experiments. Well, it's starting to look a lot smoother. It's not all caked up anymore. So I think that's done the trick, but I'm going to want to add a bit more, I think. Or maybe a bit of water. Let's see what happens when we add a bit of water to our... Nah, I think I want a bit more medium. I think it also sometimes gets referred to as flow improver. Juice. So I actually have bought an even bigger bottle that I'm now decanting out of the medium, because my wife has found out about acrylic paint pouring. So basically just you thin down some paint and you put it onto a palette and then you drag things through it to spread it out. So that is looking heaps healthier. So I brought that Baneblade, no, it's not Baneblade, it's Carrick Stone. I brought that Carrick Stone back from the brink of death. I'm just going to wipe most of it off. I got heaps there, so wipe most of it off so that I can just get it on the tip and have a nice sharp-ish tip on my brush. We might try and thin it down a bit more again, because we want thin coats. There we go. We're just going to do the ends of these feathers. I feel like because it's been so long since we have been painting Mr. Burdo, some of the technique that we used the last time has gone out the window, mate. I think that looks good. Nice bit of layering there, so that tail is right how I want it. And now what I'm thinking is I'll do the same with this white that we've got over here, and we might be able to bring some of that back to life. Pretty sure this is the old Ulthuan grey. Now, instead of cracking out the rack of flesh, we might be able to just mix a bit of this here. To lighten that up a bit. You can't see. Mixing in a bit of this Ulthuan grey. Tried to mix it over here, but now I'm going to mix it over here because I'm messy. Okay, so I'm liking that colour, and this is going to be for Birdo's feet. Or claws. Claws. Oops. It's not a lot of detail to them. Done my best to get there with that. What if we check a bit of that on the beaky beak? It's very thin, so we'll do a couple of runs on it. I think I need a finer brush. Hey, Neme Outpost. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for dropping by. I think this might be difficult because Birdo's not on a handle. Let's see what happens if I get him on a handle. That's a bit better. I feel more comfortable now. What does old Birdo's eye look like? Righto. So around, oof, first close I want to get, I got to focus a little bit stronger. What's with that? A lighter brown around the eye area. Hopefully this isn't looking too poo on the stream. Something to clean up later. Oh, definitely after you wash them. I'm just trying to get in texture around the eyes, because on the birds there's a lot of focus on the feathers. Around the eyes is a different colour. So, all right. Old Beaky's been hit with the first colour there. We made him darker and then we made him lighter. It's not white. It's a browny browny grey. Now, time to dip into the wash. So, like I said, first I'm going to hit it with some Seraphim Sepia. See what we get out of that. I don't know if it's going to be dark enough, because this is a very sepia. Sepia being more of a lighter brown, almost a yellowy brown. So we're just going to hit it up on the end of the wing to begin with. So I'm just going to dump a bit into this little wave palette here. I'm going to start here and see what kind of effect we get out of it. And I'm not happy with that at all. It's not doing anything for me. Oh, maybe we need more. Maybe we need to lump it on there. No, it's definitely not having the desired effect. So I'm just going to dump water onto it, dry my brush, and then use the dry brush to soak it off, just absorb it away. Then wash my brush. Alright, Seraphim Sepia, I thought it might not do what I wanted it to do, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do, so let's get onto a darker wash. Gonna hit it with the Agrax. Agrax, Earthshade. Earthshade, very dark brown. Use this for dirtying things up a lot. As you can see, very dirty looking. Alright. Alright. Here we go. It's more like what I wanted. It's not really hitting the smaller details on the feathers, but I think it's going to have to be what I use here.
So I've just put this Agrax Earthshade wash across it to bring out the details in the crevices of the wings of the feathers, I guess, is actually what I'm talking about. So it'll just bring out some of the little details, like the little sinews and capillaries in the feathers, hopefully. And then we can go back over it afters with a dry brush to give it some of its colour back and add a little bit more depth again. Alright. Alrighty. Well, that Burdo now has to dry for quite a while. Turn that off for just a sec. Snippety do that for later. Looking good. Yeah, progress has definitely been made. Quite happy with how he's going. As I've said before, like, you know, trial and error, trial and error. Mistakes aren't always mistakes. We could put this away. We could put this away because we're not using either of those. As you can see on his beaky beak, if I come back into focus again, the Agrax Earthshade has coloured that grey that was there quite a bit, so that'll give us our effect. And then I can hit it. I'm looking at hitting the eye with some orange and some brown. The brown's not going to show up much, but if I hit it with a bit of orange first and then dot the middle with a dark brown, maybe, yeah, so the maybe some orange like the Jacaro orange, and then dot it with the Dryad mark that I had earlier. She might be nice. Alright, seeing as Burdo has to do a bunch of drying now, I am gonna do some more
painting, but this time I'm going to do some of these Star Wars boys. Bit of a bonus one here. Moving into them, so I'm actually going to hit up these special weapons guys. Gonna show you how I make them all nice and dirty. And the good thing is that there's a whole bunch of these boys. I got 6 here. I'm not going to be able to load them all up to handles, but there are 6 of them here, and basically I just hit them with a bunch of different washes or shades, and they pick up a lot of color effects along the way. One needs a bit of cleaning up, I think. Where are you? Junes, Dark Angels. There he is. Militarum Green. Nuln Oil. Agrax Earthshade. Because I want to get them from looking like this to looking like this. So the first thing that I did with the other guys was I hit up my Nuln Oil. Loaded up my brush with the Nuln Oil. And just start from the top down. Just get them dirty. As you can see, like, it's dropping into the seams in the body armor, so it gives them a look of depth. Like, they have depth in there, but it's sort of making it so that that depth of the armor pieces actually stands out as well. Which it doesn't necessarily do when you're just white. By moving it around, you can add a lot of definition to what you're looking at. You can sink a bit more into some actual little alcoves and stuff, and you can pick it up, move it around. Drag it along edges to highlight them. Pull it back out of places where it's too highlighted, I guess. Alright. Mean boy is done. Move on to our other mean boy. I don't know, I'm not sure where to position these lights. I don't know what I did with them the last time I was painting, but it's definitely different to the way that I've got it now, that's for sure. Next, some rocket launchery special weapons, boys. Throw him on the wet palette. Speaking of the wet palette, we don't need that at the moment. This is all washes that I'm doing, so we'll lit it and move it and try not to destroy it. Shop very busy this week. Well, it's the start of the week, but last week was good. There's a lot of people inquiring about Games Workshop at the moment because there was the announcement that they're opening up again. So a lot of people are looking to get their gear now that they're coming out the other side of what they wanted to do with shutting down for a little. We'll see where it leads to. But in general, I think the way I'd describe it is we're just still maintaining business, I guess. Keeping the doors open still, which is fantastic. We moved back up to 6 people in store at a time after they announced the 10 people on Friday. Just to make sure that, you know, being cautious. If they decide to dump it again because something happens, we don't have so far a jump to go. Back down, that is. Just being cautious. I've had a lot of people asking about eventing. At this point in time, there's definitely no sanctioned events that we're planning on just yet. There would definitely be some sort of an announcement stream for when I do manage to put together a new event schedule, though, for sure. A lot of new product and restocking of ranges coming in just recently. There was a bunch of new stuff for Legion that came in. Some B2 super battle droids. Some droid tanks. Some neutral scenery stuff came in that was released and then delayed, and then online it's saying pre-order only, but the information that we have is that it's released, so that's out there for sale as well. Oh, 100% we're going to have some painting workshops on for sure, man. Like, we're going to get those skills going on you. Hey. Also, I'm not sure if it's going to be so much a workshop as a painting gathering sort of thing. So, you know, if we have, you know, a bunch of people in the room all painting together, we can have chats about painting. We can help. We can all help other people to get their skills up. You can grab your painting supplies and come up and grab your first miniature and come in and paint it and get some advice from people and show us like where you're at. And well, you know, bunch of people in a room painting minis, hanging out together, having a good time. Rather than just me standing at the front of the room going, hey, put this colour on your miniature. Hey, put that colour on your miniature. Because at that point, you're not really painting. You're just doing what I tell you to do. It's better off if you're painting and some people are just around to help you out with what you want to do. Because the thing is, when you're starting out, it's more about understanding how the paint works. So, like, you know, I'm just trying to work it out before. I think I'm at like maybe 16 months worth of painting at the moment. And, you know, I know where I'm at with this is how a paint works, this is what I want to use for this is what I want to use for that. Whereas obviously, like, the only thing that you've got to go by, as far as I understand focus, if I'm remembering, is what you've seen me do so far. So, just sort of, you know, you're a clean slate. You can take the things that you've seen me doing and, you know, kind of apply them, I suppose. And just, you know, I don't think you'd be 100% in the dark after having a watch for a month or so, but you're probably still going to sit down and go, what do I do first? And when I first started out, I was basically just going, ooh, I want robots. Give me some Tau. Gimme. And then I was just like, picked a colour, threw some colour on it, then try to make it look like, you know, darken the joints with some black paint and oh yeah, cool. Painted a model on the computer, as in 3D modeling, or as in there was like some sort of painting simulator to paint models? Or are you referring to something more like Dawn of War, where you can pick a base color and pick some accent colors and that sort of thing? What kind of painting have you done on the computer? Yeah, 3D modeling. Yeah, cool. 3D modeling's cool. I've never like created shit from scratch when it comes to 3D modeling. Back in the day, we built some really basic wireframe based maps for Unreal Tournament in the Unreal editor very long time ago. I can't remember whether it was called the Unreal editor or the UD something or other editor, something like that. That was very basic. We were basically just made a big room that was a box and then put spawns around the outside and started smashing each other. Super basic. Making games is cool. Got quite a few people that I have connections with who are into programming. I don't know how much they're into game modeling and stuff like that, but they've definitely got, you know, different skills and stuff. I think 3D modeling and stuff like that on computers is really friggin' cool. I just never had the patience to do it myself. But then again, I also said that about painting models, so. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's a competitive field. I mean, there's, from what I understand, there's a couple of studios here in Adelaide. I don't know what games they are on, but my understanding was there was one that was doing mobile programming in Unity for something. I recall somebody saying that they hadn't been able to program. Somebody had they hadn't been able to program mist or fog or something without it making phones cry, and then they just mixed a couple of things together, and all of a sudden stuff was working. That was pretty cool to hear that people had done. So. I'm really impressed by people who... Mighty Kingdom. Okay. I don't know what Mighty Kingdom is, but sounds cool. Is that a game or a studio? Alright, finish with the Nuln Oil. Cap that sucker up. Let's go back and check on Burdo. So, you can see here on Burdo that that's darkened down the company Adelaide for games. Okay, cool. So we can see on Burdo that it's darkened down those capillaries and veins sort of thing a bit. I could hit it with the Agrax again if I really wanted to, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. Now, I'm gonna give it a bit of dry brushing now, I reckons. So we can start again with our Mornfang Brown. So for this, that's probably too big. Let's just grab a little bugger. Grab a little flat-ended brush like this. Get the hair and fluff out of the bristles. We just chonk the end in some paint and try and get the paint in amongst the bristles a bit. Wipe off some excess, and then wipe out most of the paint onto this paper. Not wiping real hard, I'm just sort of dragging the brush across the paper towel until it's mostly not coming out. Then I'm just going to flick across the wing. And it's just going to catch the high points on the model. Hopefully not the deep points, just the high points, and brighten the colour back up a bit. And hopefully deepen those deep tones, I guess you'd call them. Get back on that stand, Burdo. All right. That one was pretty good. Now I'm gonna dry this brush right off, because you don't want your dry brush to be wet. Horticultural student. That is a bit of a change. Bit of rising run pictures got. Oh, that's cool. Very nice. Very nice. Horticulture student, now that I had a bit of a change. I need something with a bit of a better chance to... Yeah. It is disappointing that, you know, you have to... You can't always follow your dreams. I mean, what even are those in a lot of cases? Like, you can't always... Life can't always be easy the way that it turns out, unfortunately. I worked at the Holden factory for 15 years and then ended up, you know, obviously unemployed off of the back of that. And then had to do something else, so I ended up doing data cabling, which got me into NBN, and then NBN was okay, but it was very hit and miss. Like, the first company lost their contract, the second company lost their contract. The same deal, like, in the end I ended up becoming a property manager, and it really felt like something that I could do as my forever job, because, you know, I think my own personal assessment is that I'm a approachable and personable type person. I hope that nobody's intimidated by me, because that's never been my intention ever to intimidate people. And yeah, in the end, the game shop opened. I started volunteering my time to run tournaments and organise events and stuff like that. In the end, it became too much to be doing 2 jobs basically, so I got in good with the family that was running the game store, and the rest is history, as they say. It's true. It's true. And the other thing is, like, no businesses out there are going to make it nowadays by relying on government support. I remember when I was a kid in high school and in social studies, or whatever you want to call it now, civics or whatever they call it, you know, they taught us about how government subsidies worked and how they were supposed to go, they were a way of encouraging businesses to thrive in our country. That included, you know, hey, we want to stick a factory over here to do this thing. We want to stick a mine over here to do that thing. The government would go, hey, that's cool. You need some sort of transport route. We'll chuck in a bit of money. We'll upgrade the transport between here and there, and see if we can get you some, you know, improve the. I'm not liking this brush. Why are you not holding any paint, my friend? You know, improve the local situation for your business to, you know, incentivize those businesses to move to certain areas. But the governments have been extremely hostile to businesses the last couple of years, especially when it comes to manufacturing and telecommunications. So apparently none of that belongs in this country. You should just let it all go offshore. The skilled labour that's here, like, isn't going to get picked up by businesses because we're all too expensive. Your everyday Joe Blow is just too expensive to hire nowadays because companies overseas can do it for cheaper. Yeah. They just want to sell everything they can because, my opinion, they can make money now. They can't make money later when they're dead, so if they make it now, get themselves set for life. Sorry, Birdo off camera. This stand is not very good at holding Birdo on. So by dry brushing lighter colours over the darker colours, we kind of blend all of those feathers in together. We still got the depth, the darkness put into it, but they sort of blend a bit more now. The scary bit is that I want to dry brush some darker colours over the front of this wing to see if I can just add a bit more detail to it as well. So wish me luck on that one. Alright. I got maroon red here that I'm going to try and brighten up the front of the wing with. All of the paint on this palette is dry, so we just make sure that it's clean-ish, like nothing separating. Ooh. Just needs a bit more of a shake. Boy oh boy. That's some bright maroon there. Let's hope that this doesn't get too... Hold on to your butts. Ah ha ha ha. Yes, I'm wearing a beanie this time. Just because that was what I was wearing when I got home. Could take it off if you want, if I'm making you feel cold this time. See, that's just added another little effect to the front of the wings there. So that colour was maroon red from Reaper. So that's the first time I've used one of those, and it's just picked it up a bit, like it's turned it up a little notch there, adding a little bit more colour into like the spectrum that this bird has got on him. And of course, by just dry brushing it on it, it's just sort of tinting the brown that's under it. So alright, pretty pleased with that, how that's pulled out. Now the next scary part, I'm going to dry brush some black. Actually, I might start off with some some grey, some very dark grey, maybe like this Asian grey to the end of the wings. Yeah, yep. Some grey to the tips of the wings, and then maybe some black The grey might be too light. I might mix those two together actually. Shake, 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 shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake that gently. Just to darken down the tips of the wings. Yeah, absolutely. I was saying at the beginning of the stream, I got some of these J. Burrows brushes, but I don't know. I don't know whether it's too big for what I want to do right now. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I should just try with that as it is. I have a feeling that these Army Painter dry brushes aren't fantastic because it wasn't really holding any pigment just then. I have felt like they were a bit sus in the past, so I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, I'm not liking that. The brushes. The brush is sort of clumped up a bit. Need to get some blue tack back into the guts of this birdo. He's just moving around like mad. There we go. The desired effect is there, it's just very faint. Damn birdo. switch with the grey. Pain in the backside here, Burdo, not sticking to your roost. Military minis. No, I haven't done anything with military minis yet. Everything I've done's been Warhammer, mostly up until now. Or the Stormtroopers. The Stormtroopers are the closest thing that technically I could get to military, I guess. I don't know. I just never joined that subgroup of painters, I guess. I don't like this brush. That brush has been something of a disappointment. Let's try this older brush I've got. It's just a Monty Mart flat-ended brush. Adding a darker shade to the very tips of the wings is all I'm really trying to do here. pretty happy with where this boy's at. Just going to hit up the inside of the mouth that we were talking about earlier. I was talking about... What was I talking about? I reckon it was this Cadian flesh. Cadian flesh. Alright, I gotta do a bit of juggling of lights here, cause I'm gonna need my magnifying glass for this one. Oh dear. The brush is dried out already. Deary, deary me. This is blown out your colour. Something mad, so... Shine down upon us, that's it. Alright, let's put that back over here. Thanks, Timmy. We're getting there. Bring this light back over, juggle some lighting again. This eye, this eye. eye is going to be a tricky one. So I think Birdo eye. Just going to lighten the eyes up a little bit here with some Kislev flesh. It's a very, very light pinky colour. Just so that we got something to work from. Now I'm going to hit it with some of this bird's eye view. Love it. No problem. Catch you later, mate. I'm going to hit it with this Gryph-hound orange to try and make it pop out a bit. Quality wise, rather not necessarily poking the eye out of the bird. So I want a real tight pointy end for this, so I'm just going to clean up the end of this brush a bit. It's got some fluff hanging off of it. And catch a tiny little bit of paint on the end of this brush, and then just dab it onto what we have there. So the thing is, looking at the reference pictures, they have a very bronzy, shiny bronzy eye, which is going to be hard to make stand out on the bird itself, because the rest of the bird is brown. So I'll just hit it up with some little orange eyes like that. And then, so now that I've done that, we'll give that a mo to dry up there. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to hit these rocks that are on the base. No, I won't. There's a bigger base that this base goes on to that I'm going to have to figure out what I did with it and glue it on there now. Birdo's almost done. Birdo is almost done. These last bits are just... No, not that brush. Getting towards the... Couldn't it do with a bit of yellow? Yes, that's right. So I'm just going to wait for the orange to dry a bit, because it's a contrast paint. It's going to be wet for a little bit. This is Baneblade brown. I'm just going to try and dry brush a little bit onto the end of the beak to give it a bit of more depth. That was shocking. Okay, I think the Baneblade brown isn't as dark as I thought it was. That's why it's looks like it's not coming up, but it actually is. Alright. Tiny little point of yellow in each eye. Don't know if that shows up for you guys. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's Alberto. The only thing that's left to do on it, there's a 40mm black round base that this goes on, which is in a container or a bucket or something somewhere. So I've got to get that out, get the base mounted on there, and then paint up these rocks. The rocks will be basically a grey, and then dry brush it with a stone colour to make it look more natural. So there's Burdo. Burdo is where I would like to think it is complete. There's like a heap of things that I could do to, like, you know, add even more depth to the dude. You know, I could go through and I could paint some of the feathers in slightly different shades to make them pop out a bit more again. I could, I don't know, add more color depth to the feet. But I'm particularly happy with how he is. Oh, that'd be great if he balanced on his nose like those doves do, but nope. Definitely not. Definitely not. So, almost as if by some sort of grand plan, it's 12 o'clock where I am. And this is about where I'm winding down anyway, so that sort of works to what I was planning for the night. So if there's anything else that you guys want to have a quick chat about before I go, obviously I've been working on these Legion boys as well tonight, just in between while we were waiting for the wash to dry on Burdo. That's it, man. That bird had me terrified. Terrified for a long time. He just sat on that shelf, pretending like he didn't exist. Now look at him. He's done the painting. So yeah, hopefully next week I don't drop a week. And hopefully, I think by then I'm going to be done with these Legion boys. So I'm actually thinking about grabbing myself, just continuing on with the Legion stuff. I'm thinking about grabbing myself an E-web cannon to paint next week, which is a repeating laser gun on from the Star Wars universe that the Empire uses, and we'll get one of those painted up, I reckon. Will be the next. Ooh, that's right. I just remembered a thing. I also got a bit greedy while I was bored in the old isolation. So, where are they? There they are. So I've actually got myself another couple of projects to go as well. Chewie is in the the Rebel faction. I'm building up the Empire faction. I bought myself a couple of new Bizzos to play with as well. As I've said on previous streams, I'm quite into my Warcry, which is Age of Sigmar, Warhammer fantasy skirmish game. I'll probably play the Legion as the skirmish version as well. I just like small, quick games. Sometimes, I don't usually have 2 to 3 hours to invest into a game, so he could be the host. Oh, that's a great idea. So, with that in mind, I invested in a pack of the Sylvaneth Warcry cards. So we got, some Kurnoth Hunters. We've got, that's a Kurnoth Hunter as well. Dryads, moving in on Dryads there. Some Spite Revenants. Spite, and some Tree Revenants. So that's a new warband that I'm going to attempt to build up as well. So they're your wood elves for this this game. They sort of got rid of wood elves and they went, they're just trees. They're tree spirit guys. So yeah. And then I also, you can't get these ones anymore. I ended up having to buy this one off of the eBays from a store in Queensland for Warcry. So these are the Gits. These are the goblins from the been playing a bunch of Blood Bowl on the PC. Oh, that's great. Blood Bowl is an actual like miniatures game as well. Like I think I showed you last time the orcs that I've got. I've got Reichland Reavers as well that I have that are at the shop. But yes, so Gloomspire gets their little goblins. They have little squigs that they can ride around on. So yeah, looking at you building up these two warbands as well once we get a restock of the Games Workshop products. Because, you know, I can't help myself. I need to have a project. And I just love this game, Warcry, so much that I'm just gonna, you know, spend all my money building bloody armies. I've definitely got the plastic crack addiction. Yeah, catch you later, Timmy. You have yourself a good night, and we'll catch you again another time. And then I don't know if I showed these off, but these are coming up soon too. I got some old dwarfies here. So these dwarfs are going to get painted at some point in time too. They're red because that's the colour of the plastic. Because these are from a game called Necromunda. Not Necromunda, Beastgrave. Underworlds. And only 5 hours left. Ew. Enjoy those 5 hours. I don't envy you going home at 5 o'clock in the morning. Poor fella. I hope it's worth it. But yes, so I've got the dwarfies to do as well. The Legion stuff. Some Sylvaneth, some Gobos. And now I'm just dribbling, so it's been another 10 minutes since I said I was going to pack up. So everybody have a great night. I will catch you again soon. I'm looking to do a bit of streaming with the kids, playing some Realm Royale, and with more with Saint as well, if you're into Realm Royale, first-person shooter. It's a bit of a Fortnite clone without the building. Quite fun. It's a couple of years old, but I've only been playing for maybe a month. Anyway, that's all from me tonight. Have yourself a wonderful week. Bye.